My voice still isn't completely back, however, I can talk a little bit again. So today's video is going to be rather short and sweet, and it is going to be a book declutter video. So hi and welcome back, my fellow fantasy book lovers, or if you're new here, hi and welcome. My name is Kathy and I'm a fantasy book lover from Belgium. For today's video, I'm going to focus mainly on the bookshelves behind me, which are the books that I've actually already read. And based upon the rating that I gave a book, so if it's a 3 stars or less, or if it's a book series that I will never pick up again, I will start decluttering. Now, at the moment of recording this video, I own a grand total of 239 physical books. That is a lot. And 154 of those books are currently still unread. And my unread books are actually not behind me. They are in the shelf that is in my living room, which is my physical TBR. However, you will see me pull out some books as well that I'm going to be decluttering from that bookcase based upon maybe the first book in the series, etc. So now, without further ado, I'm going to start pulling out books, and then I will be right back with you to let you know why I'm getting rid of some of these books. So first things first, I'm going to get rid of the entire Hades and Persephone collection by Scarlett St. Clair. I read book 1 from each point of view, and honestly, I've had all of these on my shelves and I couldn't be bothered. I love Scarlett St. Clair's writing, but I just don't feel connected to the Hades and Persephone series, so that's why I'm just going to get rid of them. When we stay in the smutty reads, I'm also going to get rid of my physical copies of Filthy Rich Vampires. This is book 1 and book 2 in the series, so it's Filthy Rich Vampire and Filthy Rich Vampire Second Right. I actually purchased these for my e-reader, and I honestly don't like these enough to keep a physical copy of them, so that's why they're going. The next book I'm getting rid of is T. Kingfisher's What Moves the Dead. I just really did not enjoy this book. It was a little bit too dark, doom and gloom, and it's actually a retelling, and I felt meh about this book, so it's just going. And then we have Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Roberts. This is smut with smut and more smut, and maybe there's a little bit of plotline in it as well, but it's like, this was not a good book for me, and I love reading smut. It was just too much. It feels like fan fiction put into book form. That's probably also what this is. I think I gave this a 2 stars because it was so terrible, and now I'm debating on keeping it to include in my vampire book videos because it was so bad, but honestly, I'm never gonna pick this up or read it again. And fun fact, I actually gave this to a friend of mine to read, and she was like, this far in like 2 or 3 chapters, she was like, no. And I also DNF'd the book when I first started it because it was just too smut heavy. Up next is a trilogy. This is the Gideon the Ninth trilogy. I read Gideon the Ninth, didn't really enjoy it, and I don't know why, but I have this bad habit of buying trilogies, all books together, even if I don't know if I will like the first book. So I know from a friend of mine who's read the second book, which is Harrow the Ninth, that it's very confusing for the majority of the book, and it's because like the main character is very confused. So you have this like very confusing start of the book, and honestly, if they already struggled reading it, I'm not gonna struggle through it because I didn't really like the first book enough to even try and struggle through the second one. So I'm just getting rid of the entire trilogy. It's sad because I love the setup. I love the fact that there's like necromancers in space, but this book just simply didn't work for me. Up next, we have my gorgeous editions of The Coven and The Cursed. I pre-ordered these. I paid a fair amount of money for these, and I ended up really not liking them, so they're just going. This is sad, honestly, because I had such high hopes for this series. A series that I've already sold in the meantime is Divine Rivals. I put it online and it sold super quick. So yeah, I also decluttered that because I did enjoy them, but it was too much war theme for me and not enough fantasy, hence why I decluttered them. This next pile of books you might have already seen in another declutter video, but I still have them, so they were like set aside for me to sell them. It's These Violent Delights by Chloe Young. This is apparently a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, which is not something that I like to begin with, so why do I even have this? Up next, we have one of the 2 copies that I have of Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I do still own the Fairy Loot or Illumicrate version of this book, but I definitely don't need it twice, hence why I'm getting rid of this Waterstones edition. Up next, I'm getting rid of one of my 2 copies of Starling House. I really don't need 2 of them, and I still haven't read the book, but I'm pretty sure, unless it is as good as Empire of the Vampire, Empire of the Damned, which I highly doubt it will be, that I would need 2 copies of it. So this one is going. And then finally, my Fairy Loot copy of Silver in the Bone. I actually up there have my Owl Crate editions of Silver in the Bone and the Mirror of Beasts. I love these books, but not enough that I need 2 copies of them. So if you enjoy Arthurian fantasy, it's amazing. I'm just getting rid of this edition that I have. And this final pile of books are all books that I have read. The first one that I'm getting rid of is The Witch and the Vampire. I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed the vibe that it had, but I would never see myself rereading it. It's a very good, I could describe this as soft fantasy. It was not too dramatic, it was not too intense. I really liked it, but it's just not good enough for me to keep it on my shelves. This honestly breaks my heart a little bit. This is the Book of Azrael by Amber Nicole. It is a very special edition. This actually comes from the United States, from a specific convention. It is signed by the author, but I honestly really did not like it. So I don't see the point in keeping this book. I will never ever read it again. And because this is such a special edition that I think I paid 80 euros for. I just feel like it could use a new home that will appreciate it for what it is, but unfortunately it's not mine. Up next, 2 of the 3 books of what is going to be the Godkiller trilogy. I loved book 1. I loved the setup, I loved the premises, I loved a lot of things about it, and then book 2 completely killed it for me. So what's the point in keeping a series that I didn't really enjoy? And these are, I think, the Fairy Loot special editions with, of course, the spray-painted edges and everything. I think these are gorgeous books. I think someone will absolutely love them. However, that person is not me. And then the final book that I'm getting rid of is with a lot of pain as well. It is Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brannan. This book was part of Fairy Loot, was one of the books that was super highly anticipated. But whenever I watch series on TV like Lucifer, you always have that shitty episode, to me at least, where it's like the musical episode. Let's make the entire episode into a musical. And they tried to do that in book form, so I already didn't like the book. And then they had that chapter and I was like, no. So I'm gonna get rid of this book. It's such a pity. I'm considering just keeping it for the artwork. But I know every time I look at this book, I just feel that intense rage of having to try and sit through that like musical episode in book form. Like, no, I feel like this will be absolutely amazing for the right person. That right person, unfortunately, isn't me. So today I'm actually getting rid of 25 books. The majority of these were books that I have read or at least started the series, but didn't enjoy it enough to keep them, unfortunately. If you're interested in buying any of these books, I have put them up on my Vinted account. Vinted is the Belgian second-hand selling platform that I prefer to use. So if there's still anything up, you will find the link to my Vinted in the description box down below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you'd like to be, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I make new videos every week if my voice cooperates, and I would love to have you for every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye!